I don't understand. I don't know if you know why Riky Rick was so highly celebrated and respected. I know he cared a lot about investing in up-and-coming talent. He almost tried to feature on every kid that's like on the come up. But the way people speak about him, I don't know if you know.
I do. He was my friend. He was my very good friend. But I don't know. What do you mean? You don't know if I know? What is the question?
Why he was so highly respected in the industry? Because in my opinion, I could be wrong. I wouldn't say it's the music. Like AKA. I think it was something else.
Yes. I think it would be a difficult question for me to answer because I would be biased in that he was my friend.
We need the bias.
Yeah. So because it's like I know him personally on a level where I can attest to his character. You understand? Whereas someone who's looking for guidance or he's influenced by what he's doing, when that person is then in his presence or in his company, the way that they receive him will be very different. And I can't say that I have on the record testimony of anybody who can say, you know what, when I was coming up, I met Riky and then he did this for me. And for me, I saw him as umuntu okanje. But for me, as umngani wakhe, what I can attest to is his character. I mean, I'll obviously have to cite examples that were in the public. But I mean, do you remember when the Mabala Noise debacle happened?
The buying of awards.
Correct. And he went on stage and the speech that he gave was very much like, not in so many words, but he was like, kind of like, fuck this shit. This thing doesn't really mean anything if it's been bought type of thing. And the insinuation that he made led to him parting ways with Mabala Noise very publicly. That car that, you remember Mabala Noise was giving people cars and big checks and shit like that. Yeah. They took their car. You understand? Because now it's like, we're no longer friends now. Give back my car. Another person, especially in the industry that he was in, money comes first, status comes first, how I look to everyone comes first. That was not Riky. He didn't give a fuck. He was not trying to copy the next person. He did his thing, whether it was the music he made, the clothing he wanted to wear, or the people with whom he wanted to associate. He was unapologetic in that regard, where, like, from a character perspective, unassailable. As a man, as a dude, like if you were fortunate enough to speak to him, a lot of the stuff you and I have spoken about, that call it like things that started happening in the last year. That nigga was talking about those things in 2016. He had this thing, remember when he spoke about the internet? He was saying, stop relying on radio and TV. You know how artists...
Way before it became a thing.
Way before it became a thing. He was saying the internet is your friend. Go there. You understand what I'm saying? That's where you publish your stuff. We've discussed this before in terms of how podcasts and why this space is the future, as opposed to all of us fighting for the same 22 jobs at Metro FM, where people stay for 2 decades. You're not going to get them. Which means, Goodwena, you're going to put your dreams on hold of being a broadcaster, having a platform, having important conversations, because there isn't a broadcast platform that's willing to give you a job. Sure. Riky was on the internet, go that way. Yeah. He was a lot in the culture of Brom. I think he was instrumental in the come up of that culture, from the Boys and Bucks days to, when Brom was banging. I haven't been to Brom for long, but the last time I was there, the people that seemed to be the oaks on the street, like I'm talking about the people who want to be famous, who are doing something in entertainment, that you find just walking around there are the Kwelas. The Kwela. That culture is inspired in some way from the Riky era.
Sure.
Because he was the one that was talking about things like yabo impahla, yabo, the way ugqoka ngakhona, and how you combine the fashion elements that he would combine. And he got international attention for the looks that he curated and put together on himself. He wasn't like Pharrell is like a fashion icon and he's designing for Louis Vuitton, or he is the fashion guy for this and that show. Riky was the fashion guy for Riky. And he published the shit that he put together on his own personal page. And that shit, that school uniform Gucci thing that he was wearing, remember, that shit went like international,
Not the thing with the thing that was covering his head.
The beefight, you understand, that beekeeper thing.
Yeah.
People were copying it. Checkers. Like stuff like that, dog. That, in my opinion, that shit is iconic. But as I say, it's also like I'm viewing it from a lens of his friend.
Sure.
Maybe kunomunye umuntu that was looking at that beekeeper outfit and thought, what the fuck is this? And then they copied it in plastic checkers.
Sure.
I was looking at it from like a point of view of knowing the man and knowing that he's like our Kanye. He's the guy that we expect to do that thing. And when he does it, you might not understand it at the time when he says these things or does these things. Yeah. But now with the passage of time and the gift of hindsight, we're like, fucking hell, that guy was a fucking genius. And we miss him because I certainly miss him, and I think the industry misses him because I don't see any thinkers in the entertainment industry close to the level that Riky was thinking on and the type of stuff that he was trying to do. So I think the impact that he had, he left too soon, but the impact that he had while he was here, I don't think people actually fully understood while he was having it. Sure. That's why, to your question, Uguti, why do people think of him like that? Why do people see him like that? It's because those in that space and doing that thing to that degree, and they're like, yo, actually this guy, and this is what, 4 or 5 years, this is before lockdown that this nigga was doing these things, you know? So
cultural icon, my friend. Cultural icon. And in the rise of, you remember, prom was like a thing, Penwell. I don't know if you ever went there. No, I've never been that cool, bro.
Like,
I just watched from a distance.
And it wasn't my thing. Like, you know me. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I was also trying to be in prom, be a fashionista there, taking cool photos with graffiti behind me. Now, you understand? But I wasn't entrenched in the culture. Sure. But because at the time I was also still on mainstream, I knew something about it in that there was a lot of stars, there was a lot of noise coming from that culture. Yeah. And Riky, in my opinion, was a leader in that because he was just fucking so cool. You know what I'm saying? All those kids thought he was cool. He did a launch once. I still have a photo of it. We did security.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was an album drop or to something around Cotton Fest, but he was like, no, I'm doing it in prom. There, like where the Adidas store was, on that corner there. And we went there with 2 bouncers. So it was 2 bouncers and me, like the guys that were working. Yeah. Thinking in my mind,
come on, it's just a launch.
50 launch. Yeah, that whole T-junction was closed. Fucked. That whole street was just people. And I was like, what the fuck? Do you know what I'm saying? And this was like, imagine announcing something on Monday, saying I'm doing it on Saturday. And these are the numbers that you pull during the day. Do you get what I'm saying? That's the type of power he had. And for me, as his friend, perhaps I didn't see it because he was my bra, I wasn't his fan, you know? Like, I was too close, yes. Sure. But as I stepped back, I was like, Jesus, this guy pulled the shit off in 4 days. You know what I mean? If you attended Cotton Fest, I don't know if you've ever been to a Cotton Fest. I always say, like, if you want to know if your event has impact, if you and I decide to throw the Warras and Penwell party, and the theme for the party is all white, and on the day, people are rocking up, Matangari, Abanya wearing red, pink, blue, whatever. People are pretty much wearing whatever they want. And maybe 20% of the attendees come in all white. Our message hasn't landed, right? When you look at Cotton Fest, you're looking at 5,000-6,000 people all coming in the theme. And the theme is, give us your most unique, most individualistic fashion expression. Again, like the beekeeper thing. Yeah. You and I might look at it and say, oh, fuck, I'd never wear that. But that kid that comes through dressed like that, they put thought, effort, time into putting together that look for this one-day festival. Yeah. They didn't just attend in a jeans and T-shirt. 95% of the people at that event are dressed like that. It's like from a culture perspective, Cotton Fest in Abantbai. You understand? You're not going to find your ordinary run-of-the-mill guy wearing, let's say the guy that you find on the club on the weekend wearing jeans and a T-shirt, coming to Cotton Fest dressed like that. If he's at Cotton Fest, he's turning up. He's wearing something unique, just to shit on them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was Riky. He would rap about it. You know, you never find me at H&M unless they give me like 20 M. Like shit like that. It carried through. He didn't just say it in the lyrics in his music. He didn't just live it personally, but he actually had that influence over people where there were thousands like him, at least that we could see in one place on one day when you attended Cotton Fest. That's impact.